Welcome to the Libra subscribers. It's great to see you again. This is your Libra August 2020 tarot reading, and it's good to see you. Of course, I have seen some of you, haven't I, in the last month for some one-on-one psychic readings. And if you would like to have a personal reading with me, then just check out the information that's in the description box below, and you'll see how easy it is to make that happen. Now, next month's reading will be published at 2 p.m. on Wednesday, the 12th of August, New York time. And but I'll pin a comment to the top of the comments section if you want to come back at a later date to see, just to confirm that that is the case. Well, a number of people have asked me, what is that picture that's behind me on the wall? Well, we can have a look at it like this. Yes, but anyway, let's get underway. Your Libra August 2020 tarot reading. Now let me pull the tarot cards for you. I'll take 5 because that's all we'll need, because they are jam-packed full of information, as you know. Subscribers, let's get the first one underway. That is the 10 of Swords. Now sometimes that can be a difficult card, but it depends to see what else is coming up there. There's Major Arcana 16, Kali. And here is the Sun. Well, that 10 of Swords is being completely weakened by that, but obviously there's a message there for you, and I'll discuss that in just a second. But the ordinary difficult energy that's associated with the 10 of Swords is not present in this spread so far. But let me just see what are the remaining 2 cards. There's the 5 of Wands. Yes, some sort of competition going on, I think, for you, maybe with someone who has the same looks as you do. And there's the 4 of Wands. So this is good news. Let us, I'll bring the camera around so you can have a good close look at these cards while I do the reading for you. Okay, now can you see those? Let's have a look at this card here. I'm just drawn to it for some reason. Let's have a look at the, what's it say? Opening the heart. The 4 of Wands. Well, let's have a look at the painting, shall we? See what we can obtain from it. Well, the suit of Wands is fire, energy, and it ascends up the chakras through the body. And here we are at the 4th chakra, often referred to as the heart chakra. The heart chakra, along with the 5th or throat chakra, is one of the bridges between the 3 lower centers, which relate to the more personal self, and the higher chakras, which relate to vibratory energies that come from higher realms. Now, in this painting, we have some of these higher energies spiraling down to assist with this opening up. Now, this, I guess, is Pan, the god of nature. He's there, along with what is here a Devic being, Devic, D-E-V-I-C. Now, Deva, in the ancient Indian Sanskrit language, means a being of light. And this is a representation, I think, of the higher self, and there are various spirit guides there as well. Now, in the Eastern traditions, the chakras are often pictured as lotuses, right? And here we see an inpouring into what is called the jewel in the heart of the lotus, which is the innermost core. Now, there are many reasons why the heart center may be shielded or closed. Some relate to disappointments, betrayals, or losses. There are psychological wounds that often need to be worked through before you can feel it is safe to be vulnerable and undefended. Sometimes there can be feelings of unworthiness and shame also. They also close the heart, along with anything that creates a sense of loneliness. But you must remember that you are not alone, and aloneness is only a feeling constructed in your psyche from various memories and images from your past. Now, in this card, we have Venus ruling the 3rd decan of Aries. Now, Venus needs to go 180 degrees away from its natural home, and I'm going to put it with you in Libra in order to get into Aries. So you've got to move to the complete opposite side. Your planet has to go to the diametrically opposed side, and it's going to be in detriment in Aries. And Aries, of course, is ruled by Mars, that fiery planet, aggressive male planet. Venus is about love and beauty. So Venus comes to join Mars, and you'd expect to have trouble, wouldn't you? Well, actually, there's not, because I think what happens here is that Venus exercises her feminine charms and wiles and tames the aggressive Mars, and we in fact end up in harmony. There may well also be an opposites attract action. You might find yourself attracted to somebody or something that you previously were not attracted to. You may find that you have an emotional desire, that is Venus, to move in new directions, which is Aries, that pioneering sort of a sign. And sometimes I think what this can also do is I think there's a need here for you to maybe to complete something, despite your desire to move off into a new direction. And this could relate to something at work. We might want to move into a new relationship, or you need to tie off the old one. Or you may need to develop a new dynamic within an existing relationship. It can also relate to an aspect of yourself, where one part of you wants to move in this direction, but another part of you goes, I'm not so sure I want to do that. I think I either want to stay where I am or go in this other direction. I just had this thought in mind, though, and it is this, that completing the old sets me free. Now, I did mention that fifth chakra, didn't I, that was there around the throat when I was just discussing this card. And let's have a look at this card here. This is talking about freeing your expression. Okay, well, that's good. What does it mean for you, though? That's the question, isn't it? Now, I mentioned that the fifth chakra is the throat center, and it can often relate to unobstructed expression. Now, this can be generalized, I suppose, to any kind of self-expression or creativity. The more specific focus, though, is expression through the voice, whether that is singing or speaking or performing or just speaking your truth. Now, all of the fives, because they are ruled by Mars mystically for me, and his energy can be quite disruptive and aggressive, well, they kind of entail some sort of a struggle, really. And the Five of Wands is the struggle to overcome obstacles and express yourself freely, I think, at this time. Sometimes the obstacles can be external when, for example, your creative work doesn't find an audience or someone criticizes you for what you say. At other times, the restrictive influences have kind of been internalized by you within yourself. And if you haven't been, well, received well for expressing yourself, or you've had experiences where others have either judged you or condemned you or just simply ignored what you've created, then sometimes you might find it's more difficult to give yourself permission to express freely. But you must do so. Even anticipating judgment from others can sometimes lead to self-censorship, can't it? Now, I think that the key symbol in here is this one, and let's have a look at it again. I'm just looking at this thing here as a mushroom. Now, I won't use the usual saying in respect of mushrooms, but you look at this mushroom and visualize a flow of energy rising upward like a water fountain. Then the stream hits a ceiling, and then it tends to head off in other directions, doesn't it? With each new stream curling downward and inward. Now, the result is something that does look like a mushroom, but the potency, I think, of this symbol lies in the fact that energy doesn't just stop or back up, but it keeps moving in new directions. Keeping the energy moving is what this card is about, I think, for you this month. Sometimes your expressions will meet with resistance or negativity, and the challenge for you is not to cut yourself off in response. Cutting off your expression backs up your energy, and it can lead to stagnation, and it can also lead to depression.
Depression comes with literally suppressing your natural energy flow. Now, the vaccine against that, I suppose, is to keep the energy flowing regardless of minor impediments. You need to find new avenues of expression when those you're using are blocked. You see, in this card, what we have is Saturn in the first decan of Leo, as I see it, the 23rd of July to the 2nd of August. Well, the thing is, Saturn and Leo just don't get on, because Leo wants to be creative and express itself, while Saturn, as you probably heard, is often perceived as being cold and dense and wants to set boundaries and limits and what have you. Leo here is in a fire sign. No, Leo is a fire sign. It's in the suit of fire, and with this 5 here, that's Mars. That's got a lot of fire energy with it as well. So I think what happens is that Saturn comes in and tries to dampen all of this down, and so we have astrological discord. So sometimes I think you might feel that you have some unfulfilled desire, or that you feel that you are striving for something, but your striving is in vain. You might find yourself in the middle of a conflict or a tension or a competition, and it is impacting on your ability to move forward with your goals. I think this gets resolved, though, looking through here, and this energy is coming through. This is almost like a chronology of what's happening. Now, this card here, I think, placed where it is, can often point to competition with someone who has very similar qualities and experiences to you. They may have the same degree of beauty and attractiveness as you do. You might be in competition with someone. And if you haven't had to face the fire of competition before, getting a lot of feeling of competition coming up here, then you'll know what it is to deal in competition, and you'll know what it actually requires you to do. I'd really ask yourself this, to say that, what insurmountable obstacle seems to stand between you and the realization of your goals? And how real is it really? Go step by step. Take everything a little easier. And say this to yourself: I am more and more capable now of expressing my feelings and creativity in my work. I welcome competition, because in competition I will prevail. Now, with this degree of competition or striving for things, you may feel somewhat downhearted, but I think that is coming to an end, and it is going to be replaced because of some things that are going on here which is going to be assisting you. Let's have a look at this card here, the 10 of Swords. And what does this say? Put your glasses on, Nigel. Leaving the story. Okay. Leaving the story. Well, let's have a look at the painting and see what we can take from it. Well, in this painting, the layers of the canyon reflect the layers of your story and how deep it is. At the bottom is a core pattern that you are organized around. It is illuminated here by the light of awareness. Now, these ascending birds are a symbol of leaving the pattern. The fact that they rise in a spiral reminds you that your work on your patterns is something you do again and again. Now, it can sometimes be easy to get discouraged by this and forget that you are, in fact, moving forward. This is helping you to remember that this may be a pattern that you've been living out for many lives, possibly, and that changing the pattern is a major part of your life's work. It is as if each time you identify with the story, you get sucked back down into an energy vortex, and each time you don't identify with the story, you rise to a higher and freer perspective, just like these birds. Freedom is getting out of the canyon and out of the ruts of the mind that have obstructed the openness and ability of your true nature. Do you know, this number 10, it's very unstable. The energy here is very unstable, and it's about to dissolve. This is about to dissolve into the Ace of Earth, which is about tremendous opportunity to do with material things, which includes things to do with your life, your relationships, your standard of living, your work, and how you enjoy yourself. So this number 10 is really the beginning of a new pattern. And this 10 here, I think, is about mental patterns. Although you have to remember that mental patterns can also involve feelings. Thoughts precipitate feelings, don't they? And feelings sometimes generally have an aspect to them that we sit around and ruminate over and think about, and we get into a bit of a cycle. And a feeling comes into focus within a particular context that gives it meaning. Thoughts, feelings, and self-images are the ebb and flow of mental patterns. To understand how you free yourself from patterns, you must understand how you get stuck in them. Patterns are kind of like mental grooves. You know the old vinyl records? They're coming back into fashion now. The more often that your thoughts and feelings go down certain channels, the deeper those grooves become. We think the same old thoughts and have the same old feelings very often, don't we? I think pretty well everybody does that. And in some way, we kind of identify with this as being our story, which is wrong because it's not who we are. But we kind of run this story again and again, and it's not like a groove, it becomes more like a pit, a giant hole that we can easily fall into. And the further that you fall into that pit, the harder it is to get out. Being aware of what a particular, or when a particular sequence first starts, well, that allows you to avoid automatically falling, letting your guard down and falling into the pattern. The pattern has ended when you no longer fall into the pit, but rather negotiate your way around it, just move around it, understand it's there, and it was a way that you used to think about things, it's a way that you used to be, but now you've become something else. You see, the issue comes up because we have the sun ruling the third decan of Gemini, the 12th to the 20th of June. And here, the sun in Gemini is difficult because Gemini, which has always got like a million things going on, disperses the energy of the sun and it disperses your focus. And the focus becomes then almost entirely on the intellect and ruminating about things. But it's unstable, and it's going to go on to the next thing. So I think that there is the opportunity here for you to have some negative thoughts. But remember, it's about mental things only. It's a construction of your mind. And the reality is that irrespective of what your mind actually constructs, reality always turns out differently, doesn't it? There is, I think, here there's an angel associated with this energy called Kelley. And there's a book in the Old Testament called the Book of Psalms, and I'm pretty sure it's Psalm 35, verse 34, which says, "Take up my cause, O Lord, my God, as you are beneficent, and let them not rejoice over me." Well, invoking those words, it will give you assistance in the face of adversity. It allows you to have knowledge of the truth, and your innocence will triumph. There will be the beginnings of abundance and fruitfulness which will fill your being. There's also a sense of, I think, procreation around here as well. So although this is seen as being a bad card, I actually don't think it is one. And say to yourself, I invite the positive in my life and welcome it wholeheartedly. Because you should do. You've got everything going for you. And the Libra women, well, let's face it, the Libra women are renowned as being the most beautiful women in the zodiac, aren't they? So you've got everything going for you. Let's have a look here. Oh, by the way, Kali. Well, I'll get to that in just a second. What's this say? Shattering the structure. Okay. Well, of course, traditionally, this card has always been called the Tower, and generally it's depicted by a tower being struck by a bolt of lightning. Actually, what is happening is that astrologically, Mars energy is coming in here, and it's coming in full attack mode to break down, to move through your psyche and burn out anything that is fake or false to fact. But I think what we can say here is that if we think about Kali, actually last month in the tarot readings I did, there were a number of cards that talked about Indian deities, and Kali was one of them. Kali is the consort of Shiva. Shiva is the god of destruction and renewal. And Kali herself is the most powerful form of Shakti, which is, in the Sanskrit, the primordial cosmic energy that penetrates the entire universe. She is the depiction of that energy that goes through the universe. Now I'm looking here, let's have a look at this band. You see that band? This is just what I'm getting from it, of course. The band through the middle of the painting represents both the ego mind and traditional civilization. The fact that Kali is larger than this band reminds you that the forces of creation and destruction are much larger than the band of ordinary reality that you are usually aware of. Creation and destruction have a mind of their own, and your ego has little control over that. Now the star, as I take it to be, which is down here, that represents the dynamic energy of the universe, that essential Kali energy, that Shakti that I just mentioned, that is always in motion throughout the cosmos, penetrating it and moving within it. Now, I think that this is a time here that, looking at that Ten of Swords there, I think that you're going to release old forms or patterns. There's going to be a revelation that you'll have in respect of some of those things that you might have been downhearted about. The old is going to be destroyed to make room for the new. That's just as Kali's consort Shiva does, of course. And I think that you'll break down old forms or patterns, and those patterns of what your life story is, and who you are saying that this is the script that has been written in stone, and I'm unable to change it. Well, you are able to change it. You can change the script. You write your life. You're the captain of your life, and you write the new script. But there may be some sort of a turmoil. Actually, there could be some turmoil as you seek to understand how you could have been mistaken about a situation or person which you've now got to come to terms with. It may be because of a relationship breakup, could be causing turmoil, or the loss of a job. Maybe the death of a loved one can very often bring this energy up, or some financial or health problems. But the important message is that with the destruction of the old comes the new, and you can eventually look at life in a much more meaningful way, and in a way which is going to be better for you. This is, in a sense, I feel, because it's major arcana, a major internal change. The divine spirit is moving through your psyche and burning out anything that is fake. And have compassion to yourself. Be compassionate to yourself while you change, as you metamorphosize like the caterpillar that turns into the butterfly. Remember this, that who I think I am as a belief to be undone. I have the ability to heal and restore myself at all times. I am not inside my body. My body is inside me. And everything that happens in my life happens for the best. It does happen for the best, and as they say in the classics, and you live happily ever after, because here is the sun. Now let's look at this paint. What does it say, by the way? The radiance of being. Okay, good. Now, the sun. Let's have a look at it. Now, in this painting, two people honouring the sun element. I think personified here as a sun goddess. There is a sun at the top of her head, isn't there, coming in through her crown chakra, and a sun in her solar plexus, right? The solar plexus is your power center, your body's sun, and it enables you to power around in life. When your solar plexus is really open and the energy is flowing, it's not at all hard to get things done. I think this card represents access to dynamic and creative energy. At the deepest level, this is really source energy. It might be experienced as light, consciousness, presence, or aliveness, where one way it expresses itself is in really having a real love of life, the joy of life. And when you are in touch with your sun energy, you are being yourself in a way that is natural and empowered. There's no shyness or holding back, and I don't think you will. I think you are going to let yourself shine. You might think that this isn't easy, but this is, because now you've come through probably some problems and you're now saying, look, I'm going to do this. Now, you might be used to kind of pulling the handbrake up upon yourself, slowing yourself down without noticing how much you do this. So claim your light. This is really a revolutionary act, I think. You have to care more about being who you are than what others think of you and the ceilings that other people might like to impose. Most of all, you have to continually break through the ceiling that you impose upon yourself. And you know what I mean. There's a great freedom in this as you burn through the character structure that accumulates with age. You return to an experience that is fresh and youthful, like a child, and look at the world as a child does, with openness and without any layers of negativity upon it. You know, the sun is the source of life and represents success and abundance, and this is going to follow you through your life at present. Energy will get you through tough times. The sun is going to illuminate your path after what has been probably something of a trying time, hasn't it? This has been something of a trying time, but as I say, it ends well. And if you had tough times, things are going to be better. Really understand this, that you are at the present time able to move mountains, and you should say this to yourself, that I work well in team situations. I enjoy contributing to group efforts. I am a cooperative person. Visualize the light and warmth of the sun inside you and remind yourself several times daily that the sun is shining in and through you, and say, I am in harmony with the divine light which fills and guides me. Great spread for you, Libra. Well done. That's the way it is for you this month.
Well, there you go, the month of August in 2020 for you, and it looks like it's going to be a great month, and I hope you enjoyed that reading as much as I did providing it to you. It's my great pleasure to provide these readings to you, you know. Actually, as I say, if you do want to have a personal reading, check out the information that's in the description box below and you can see how easy it is. But in the meantime, I look forward to seeing you again next month, and until then, always remember this, that you are a legend. And I look forward to seeing you again next month. Until then, it's bye for now.